Chemistry isn't just about molecules, it's about crafting life's essentials with care and with purpose. And at the forefront of this mission are leaders such as Vishal Sharma, who's the Executive Director and the CEO at Godrej Industries Chemicals. His leadership journey has spanned 5 continents and transformed businesses at scale. Today, as he leads Godrej Chemicals into its next chapter, we explore his philosophies on sustainability, on innovation, and on purpose-driven growth that shape not just products, but the future of industries and communities alike. Marksman Daily presents C-Suite Conversations. Hello viewers and welcome to another episode of C-Suite Conversations. With me, as you know by now, is Mr. Vishal Sharma. Mr. Sharma, thank you for being here with us on this episode.
Thank you for the invite.
So, Mr. Sharma, you have diverse experiences across industries, across the globe. How do you draw from all of them? What are the kind of leadership lessons you've gleaned from them?
You know, talking about global experience, I think there are two dimensions to it. One is, yes, I've worked across the world, all 5 continents, and that's been a very interesting part of the journey. But there's a second dimension, which is it's not just been different geographies, it's also been different industries. And there's a learning to take away from each of these. Let's start with the geographies first. So I'll give you a small story quickly. I land up in Thailand. I am 35 years old. I've got this big job. I'm the vice president of Southeast Asia and India. Very successful background, high performer. And I go into my first leadership meeting with a Thai team. And I behave exactly the way I behave with my Indian team. No study on Thai culture. Second trip in my life to Thailand.
Okay.
Full of confidence. And that day is a disaster. By 4 p.m., there's only one guy talking in the room, that's me. And by 6 p.m., I realized there's something's gone wrong today. Next day morning, I call the HR head, a Thai guy, for breakfast, and I say, listen, Kuntanan, something went wrong yesterday. He says, no, Kun Vishal, it was all fine. I said, listen, please help me. Okay, I've done something wrong. I'm trying to figure out what it was. And he says, let me tell you, you're a very bad man. You have no respect for people. You think you know everything. You talk all the time. You don't listen to anybody. You're too aggressive. You don't know how to behave. And after 10 minutes, my face was red and I said, thank you so much. I'll come a bit late to office now, because I need to think about this. And I go back to my room in the hotel, I go to my computer and I read up on Thai culture, and it took only 20 minutes.
Right.
The basics of behavior. It's a very different culture. They're very different people. What works with them and what does not work with them is very different than how it is in India, right? Big wake-up call. 12 noon I walk in, I apologize to everybody about what happened yesterday. I tell them my background, I tell them I didn't know what it's like, I was overconfident. You will see a change, I promise you that. And it was a very successful journey from there 2 years onwards, in the next couple of years. We did very well as a business and the team liked me a lot, and when I left, a lot of people cried. Why am I sharing this? Managing cultural diversity, having a high level of self-awareness, having the humility to say, okay, I've made a mistake here, and having the learning agility to course correct quickly is very, very important. When you're having a multi-year journey in business, whatever career you may be in, right? But when you're working across cultures, when you're working across geographies, this is an absolutely important characteristic. I'll give you the second dimension now. So I started my career in the textiles business with Mafatlar Industries, went on to work with a company called Meklai Financial Services as a Forex consultant, foreign exchange. From there went on and joined GE in the lighting business. From there went on to another company where I was in hygiene solutions, and then to another company which was in water treatment and process chemistry. And people have often asked me, how on earth have you moved from this to this to this to this, being a mechanical engineer? And I have only one answer. You got to be willing to say, I don't know this, and you got to be willing to tell people, will you help me learn this? And you have to do your own research and studies. And you got to spend time on this. And nothing will compensate for the hours that you need to spend learning. So I think that's the key learnings from these two journeys, and I've made sure that I never let these go away. I always keep this at the back of my mind, and I would say humility served me very well. I've been selfishly obsessed with humility. Because with humility, you gain a lot. With arrogance, you gain nothing.
It's very important to have that openness, that curiosity to keep on learning, to keep on pushing the envelope in that sense, and look inwardly as well. So leaning into your global experiences, when it comes to specialty chemicals, what are the kind of opportunities you see for India on that front in the decade to come?
See, India's got a lot of advantages and some disadvantages. And I think we need to look at both when we try to answer this question. Let's talk of the advantages first. We have a pretty technically competent talent force here. A lot of institutes producing chemical engineers, though I will add, chemistry not being a very, let's say, modern subject today, or if you don't mind me using the word, chemistry not being a very sexy subject today, compared to a lot of new age industries and new age roles that people can do. We're actually seeing the number of students in the chemical industry declining. Yeah, we are seeing a lower number of PhDs and a lower number of graduates and postgraduates coming out. So this is something I think as a country we need to address and solve.
Is that because of the lack of sex appeal, so to speak?
I would absolutely think so. Plus, chemicals have a little bit of a bad connotation to them, given that fossil fuel based chemistry is non-renewable and sometimes non-biodegradable, though I think the industry's come a long way from there. And the industry is very focused on sustainability now, but this is something which we as an industry need to work on, okay? So let me come back to the topic now of the advantages in India. I spoke of technically qualified talent. We've got low-cost talent, which is in itself not a great thing, but it's an advantage. Yeah, it's a competitive advantage compared to, I would say, any other part of the world. Third, our capital costs of putting up plants are 1/3 of what it is in Western Europe or North America. 1/3. It's going to cost you $100 million there, you will do it in $33 million here. The combination of these naturally makes you very competitive. And we've got a pretty decent access to raw materials. We have most of them locally available. Whatever is not, we can always import it. So I think that's in a pretty good place. So when we talk of the chemical industry now, and particularly you spoke of specialty chemicals, these advantages work completely in our favor. So there's no reason why we cannot be competitive against any other company making that same product in any part of the world. Now the challenge is we make a lot of me toos, yeah, and a lot of people in the industry may not like me saying this, but that's a fact.
Yeah,
we are not innovators. This is a big problem we have, and this is something we got to change. So if you look at the R&D spend that we have as an economy, India averages around 0.6-0.7% of GDP. Spends on R&D as a ratio of the GDP. South Korea is at 7%. Israel is at 6%. The UK is at 3.5%. The US is running at about 3%. We are way below. So with this kind of R&D spend, how will we become innovators? And the world is ruled by innovators. You look at the most advanced and developed economies, look at the rich economies, look at the largest companies in the world. Think of Nvidia, think of Apple, think of Microsoft, think of any company, think of Schneider Electric, think of Siemens. They're all innovators. They've all created stuff. How many innovative products or technologies have we made in India? Not enough. We've made some. We need 100 times of this. Yeah. So I think this is the area, this would be one big area I would say we need to improve on. But having said that, the specialty chemical space has a lot of opportunity. I think we are seeing the industry investing quite heavily now. It's happened in the last couple of decades and it continues now. We've got a bright future ahead of us, there's no doubt about that. And if we address these couple of things, the talent and making the industry more attractive and focusing more on innovation, we can reach the stars.
So Godrej Chemicals, of course, is a company that's known for its green chemistry. How do you go about embedding sustainability into the strategy, into the operations of the entire organization?
So let me first start by saying sustainability is two things. It's a concept and it's a mindset. It's not talk. So once you have the concept clear and once you have built the mindset that we want to be sustainable, and that means sustainable raw materials, that means sustainable operations, and that means sustainable products, then you start working on it. Okay? So you take the concept, you figure out how you're going to make yourself more sustainable in each of these. What materials do I use? how do I process those materials in my operations? How do I make the operations more sustainable?
Right.
How do I use less energy, less water? How do I generate less waste? How do I make products that are more sustainable in the customer's process? And how do I make products which don't go to landfills, which don't contaminate the oceans, which don't spoil the rivers, yeah, and are biodegradable by themselves, meeting all the required standards of biodegradability? Then you go and execute this. So to me, if you have the mindset, you'll do it. I hear a lot of people saying, yeah, but sustainability is too expensive. Actually, it's not. Because once you enhance the sustainability of your business, you actually start getting a payback on it. You know, we've seen this everywhere. So we are just investing a bunch of money in solar, in hybrid power at our Walia plant in Gujarat. And the payback is like 18 months. It makes complete business sense to do this. And I will reduce carbon emissions as I do that.
So, Mr. Sharma, was there any piece of advice given to you, maybe as a younger professional, maybe later on in your career, that helped shape the arc of your career's trajectory that you could share for our viewers back home?
So I'll give you two answers to this. One I'll give you a piece of advice very early in my career, and one I'll share with you which I got very recently, actually, before I took this CEO role. So very early in my career, I described that earlier Thai experience as well. So I was this very high-flying, call it whatever you want, aggressive, dashing kind of leader. And one day, my vice president then in Singapore called me and said, you know what your biggest problem is, Vishal? So I said, what? He says, well, confidence is not one of them. Your problem is too much of confidence.
Okay.
Yeah. He said, you think you know everything. You think you have the answers to everything. When we are in a meeting, you're talking half the time. You're just not listening enough. What do you think you're learning? Because if you're not listening...
that circles back to what you said about always learning.
Exactly. That actually... And he said, let me also tell you, a lot of people don't like you.
Oh.
And this will bounce back at you sometime. Because when we look at moving people up into bigger roles, it's actually not your boss who makes that decision, it's your peers who make that decision. And if we feel your peers won't get along with you, we will not give you a bigger job. Now, that was a shock, that blew my bubble, let's put it like that. But I think the bubble needed to be burst. Went back, did a lot of thinking that night, went back to him next day morning, thanked him for the advice, and I told him, so what should I be doing? And we had a fantastic 3 hours chat. I had my action plan there. And I executed that and, changed as a person in the next 6 months. And then he had people coming and telling him, something's gone wrong with this guy's changed. He's different. He's not like how he was. So I think that was one great piece of advice, and link that to the humility part I spoke about earlier. Yeah, that's where those two connect. The second piece of advice was when I was leaving my early organization and coming to join Godrej, the CEO of that company was my mentor actually. And I told him, any advice you can give me? He said, I'll tell you only one thing. Because you're getting into a big job now, you'll have a lot of things to do. Mm-hmm. Try to focus on doing those things which only you can do.
Right.
Let others do everything else.
Essentially, the importance of delegation.
The importance of delegation, yeah. Because there are certain decisions, there are certain analysis, certain observations, certain thoughts that only the person who's got oversight of the whole ecosystem can make. That's where the focus should be. Otherwise, you can be busy all the time, really achieving nothing much. You could be doing stuff that can be done by a lot of other people, and you will miss focusing on the real heavy stuff, the deep stuff. So this is where I differentiate between work and deep work. And I think as you go higher up, in your career, as you take more important roles, whether you're an entrepreneur or a painter or whatever it is, your focus needs to be more on the deep work which you can do. Let everybody else take care of the rest of it. You don't need to get involved in that. For that, you got to trust people. For that, you got to delegate well. For that, you have to be willing to take risks and accept mistakes when they happen. Give everybody a learning opportunity.
Brilliant. Mr. Sharma, thank you so much for carving out the time to chat with us. It was a pleasure having you here with us.
Thanks. I think it's been a great conversation.
Leadership is all about empowering others to succeed and improving them, but at the same time, focusing on improving yourself. These are the big learnings I had today from my conversation with Vishal Sharma, and I do hope you enjoyed this episode of C-Suite Conversations. I'll see you in the next one.